In 1998, construction workers digging beneath a quiet townhouse in London made a discovery that stopped everything. They didn't find treasure. They didn't find documents. They found bones. Human bones. Over 1,000 fragments. This wasn't a cemetery. This wasn't a hospital. This house once belonged to Benjamin Franklin, one of America's most celebrated founding fathers. And what was buried beneath his home raises a question history never wanted to answer. Why were they there? The address is 36 Craven Street, London. Benjamin Franklin lived here from 1757 to 1775, nearly 18 years. Longer than he lived in most places in America. Inside these walls, Franklin worked as a diplomat, a scientist, and a negotiator, trying to prevent a war that would later create the United States. For more than 2 centuries, nothing about this house seemed unusual, until the ground was opened. When the excavation began, workers uncovered bone after bone, skulls, arms, legs, fragments belonging to adults and children. Archaeologists were called immediately. What they found was disturbing. Many bones had clean surgical cuts. Joints had been carefully separated. These were not victims of violence. These bodies had been used for dissection. This was not a burial site. This was a hidden anatomy grave. Forensic specialists examined every fragment. Carbon dating placed the remains in the mid-18th century, exactly the years Franklin lived in the house. Tool marks matched 18th century surgical instruments. There were no signs of murder, no execution wounds, no trauma consistent with crime. Everything pointed to one conclusion. These bodies were used for medical research. Secret medical research. In 18th century Britain, human dissection was illegal. Only executed criminals could be dissected, and there were never enough bodies. So anatomists turned to other methods: grave robbing, black market corpses, hidden laboratories. This underground practice was known as resurrectionism, and Franklin's house was connected to one of them. Benjamin Franklin did not live alone. One of his closest associates and tenants was William Hewson. Hewson was one of Britain's leading anatomists. He made major discoveries in blood science. He also conducted illegal dissections. Historical records confirm that Hewson used the basement of the house as a secret anatomy workspace. Franklin financially supported Hewson's research. He believed science should not be limited by law. There is no written confession, no document proving Franklin performed dissections himself. But the facts are clear. He lived in the house. He funded the research. He understood exactly what Hewson was doing. Historians agree on one point. Benjamin Franklin almost certainly knew, and he chose silence. If discovered, these activities meant prison. They meant disgrace. They meant the end of scientific careers. So the remains were buried beneath the house. Not ceremonially, carefully, quietly. Knowledge came at a cost, and secrecy was the price. Benjamin Franklin helped build a nation founded on reason and progress, But progress is never clean. Beneath the ideals, beneath the history books, were bones. Not symbols of evil, but proof that the pursuit of knowledge has always walked in the shadows. History isn't always heroic. Sometimes it's buried underground.